This week's episode brought to you by Nacho Niggas Self-Serve Nacho Buffet. Nacho Niggas. Make it yourself, fool. Coach doesn't like the Dems or the Republicans. Coach thinks they're in bed together 100%. It's not like, oh, sometimes this one flirts with that one. No, it's all the same. Like, it's the same companies, and the companies owned by the same people. Those people aren't even people. They're probably aliens or lizards or some shit. Coach don't know, right? Or demons. Right, whatever the fuck they are, they don't like us, right? So, coach thinks it's all a big scheme, you know, to basically enslave the world, and you know, it could be a simulation. Coach always keeps all the sort of obviously they bluff simulation all the time, but what Coach is actually getting at with Trump specifically is so. World War III is guaranteed because they always did a Roman numeral with WWII, and you only do that if there's going to be a sequel. That's like the WrestleMania 2 rule. Coach says sports have rules in the same way, like, have you ever seen the movie Scream? Like the Screams where they've got Jamie Kennedy popping in and being like, this is how you survive a scare movie or a horror movie. You got to be a virgin and don't drink, and you know, like, basically you just like can't sin, and I can't remember all the fucking. I know the sequel's got to be better. There's a lot of stupid rules, right? So it's like we always got to figure out what stupid movie they're making, right? Is there going to be a big twist, right? Is it just your typical cheesy rom-com Taylor Swift ending with the Chiefs? You know what I mean? Andy Reid getting over on his old team, right? And then the coach he fired beating him right back with Sirianni. Eagles get right back on him, right? I'm not feeling a grudge match with that one, to be honest. I would take the Chiefs all day if they do, but I don't see that one going down. I would believe they'd do something like Chiefs-Packers first, like rematch Super Bowl I. That would be more entertaining to me. Coach is going off on a big tangent. Oh, yeah. So World War III. So Coach thinks specifically, you know, they always bluffed you, like, or conditioned you, like, hey, if we would have lost World War II, we'd all be speaking German, right? Well, we have President Trump, and, like, there's no way Germany's sitting out World War III, even though we've been conditioned to believe, like, they're harmless. Like, they're probably, the twist with them is, like, oh, they've had this quiet, alt-right, you know, neo-schmatzy, whatever, rebellion, insurgents, militia type deal, whatever you want to say, that rises up and elects the next one. I mean, that's honestly probably what we should be looking for. Like, is there a young, charismatic figure in Germany that seemingly has, like, a spotless reputation? Because it's not like everybody was, like, warning you that AH was some terrible guy, right? Like, they had him on the cover of, like, Time magazine and shit. You know, like, oh, he likes animals and is vegetarian. They always tell you all the stupid, like, corny facts about him, right? So, specifically, Coach thinks we're going to, like, so, skipping ahead a little bit. So, Trump, by AI right now, is considered the second worst president. And Trump isn't down for being second anything. If he's going to be bad, he's going to be the very worst. The only way to undisputably, like everyone needs to know. Like, it has to be instinctual. It's going to be like just think about, like, with Germany losing. Like, it's not like anybody in WWII. Like, you're not allowed to say they should have won or something, right? Like, that makes you an awful person, right? Like, oh, wow, you really think that all the schmooze should have been offed or something corny, right? Whatever they want to throw on you, right? Well, I guess not. You're right. Glad the good guys won. Hurrah, right? So they got you there. So, oh, gosh. Sorry, Coach jumping, like, all around. Oh, yeah, so they're obviously going to humiliate Trump and all his cronies. They've said he should have never won, blah, blah. Like, it's all the liberals' fault, like the Democrats' fault, but they're going to be the ones that get to point and say they told you so at the end. We're going to get scolded by the fucking Hillarys and Kamalas of the world, okay? And, you know, so it's going to be a huge overcorrection, right? It's going to be, like, you're going to see what fascism's really like, and it's probably not a patriarchy. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably, like, think of, like, this form of Nazis, it's the girl's turn, is what Coach is thinking. So, It's going to be some, the PC up to 1,000 type shit. Coach saying, get the hell out of here. So Drumpf is just here to turn us over to the Germans. And then specifically, this is why Coach really thinks he's right too. It's like, man, it really makes sense all the way through. Trump dissed McCain, right? I don't like soldiers who were captured or something stupid, or did he say presidents? I forget what he said about McCain, right? But he was like, whatever, he doesn't like soldiers that were captured because McCain was a POW. Well, AH famously offed himself, right? Coach thinks it's all fake, right? They tell you like, oh, that was fake and he went to Argentina. Coach thinks it was all Walt Disney to begin with. Like there's not even an AH. Like he just took off the wig and went back to making stupid Bambi 2. Right, straight to VHS sequels. That was his follow-up act after Schmall accosting everybody, right? So Coach says it's all BS, it's all an act. It's just they put Hollywood's finest on the deal to sell it, put the magic on it, and then put the mustache back on, go right back to work. But specifically, so Trump's setting himself up to get captured. And he's gonna get schmexecuted. Like, why are we in the live stream era, right? Like, this isn't 100 years ago where we would have seen some stupid clip of it in a newspaper or like before a movie on like a projector reel for like 5 seconds. Like, oh, China's really turned this time. Oh, the war is not looking good at all. Our poor president. You know what I mean? Like some stupid corny shit. Like, no, like it's gonna be like it's the most viewed video in the history of the world, and we can't take it down because it's Schmeiss posted it and Twitter doesn't take their shit down for some stupid reason. They always got some corny, dumb reason that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So, that's how Coach sees them doing Trump, probably some beschmedding with a wax head, right? They pull the French Revolution trick again, make you think they cut somebody's noggin off when it's just a toy prop, right? It's just a stupid movie. So Coach thinks they're making Black Trump down. So that would be. Oh, and also it's like they conditioned you with like that little, what was that stupid fake? And so what was it, January 6th? You know what I mean? Like never remember the 5th of November or some shit like that, like from V for Vendetta. Like, is that what they're going for? Coach is thinking for sure their big attack they're doing to get the ball rolling here, right? Trump's 9/11 is going to be at 9/11 a.m. during the Macy's Day Parade. Because the Macy's Day Parade starts like 26 minutes before that, and it's the 100th one. And there just so happens to be an even bigger parade in Detroit. That's always been the one that my family cares about. They think it's cooler. I didn't realize that until I talked to my mom about it. But basically, Trump said Detroit's a shithole. Like he said all of America would look like Detroit if Kamala won, right? So makes sense. What Coach thinks that Detroit's winning the Super Bowl. Be hilarious for them to go to the White House. So basically, Coach thinks that's how you should be thinking about who's winning now. Who's the funniest person to send to the White House, right? So Coach said the Eagles were hilarious, right? Trump shit on them a while back, and then it came full circle when they won. And then who else? And like I'm pretty sure both times the Eagles won was during like the Trump administration. So like just a little nugget there. And just trying to think like who would be really good right now. Like I think Brittany Griner in the WNBA. Her team's god awful. They have the worst odds. I don't think they're doing it this year, right? And maybe she gets moved somewhere else or whatever. But I'd be very surprised if Griner doesn't find her way to the White House to make Trump answer for locking her up essentially. Right? So, obviously Coach doesn't have any sympathy for Griner. It's just a character anyways, and Coach thinks she's stupid to go to Russia. Like, you knew the risk. I knew they were cooking up something with that when they announced the whole thing. She could have played anywhere. Like, Russia is known. Coach has always known, because Coach reads, that especially like hockey in Russia and women's basketball. The story is in Russia, it's entirely run by the mob. So it's like, why do you think she's making so much money in Russia? Right? It's not like everybody in the world cares about Russian basketball, right? It's because it's dirty money. So she took dirty money. She knew what she was getting into. And there's plenty of other places in Europe she could have made good money, right? She didn't even have to sell out that hard. So Coach had no sympathy, even if it was real. Of course, we think it's corny and stupid. So Coach is going to hit the slides. Hopefully some more stuff will jog his brain. And let's see. Oh, boring. This is Coach's setup for the CRT. Let's see. So Coach thinking about the Bucs. So, they came into the league with the Seahawks. That's interesting. Coach is just going to talk some Super Bowl scenarios right now. So what are some picks Coach would buy for at least $1, right? What's got a 1% plus chance of happening? Surprisingly, I'll give you exactly one script with the Bills. You already know what it is if you're paying attention. It's not for them to win, right? The Vikings could beat the Bills. The other scenario would be the Bills somehow lose to somebody else and the Vikings lose to somebody else later. But the reason Coach thinks they might be doing Vikings-Bills right now is the Vikings, of course, passed on Sam Darnold, had to watch him win with the Seahawks, right? Beat his team of destiny, the Patriots. Well, the Vikings could never beat the Patriots. It wouldn't make sense for Darnold to be there, right? So they did him a solid. So for the Vikings, they've got Carson Wentz on their bench. Carson Wentz beating Josh Allen in the Super Bowl would be fucking awesome. So Coach will definitely buy that for some amount. It's far from my favorite, but it's like, man, you know what? They actually might be doing that piece of shit. There's like 200 and something possible outcomes, right? Coach is mostly sold on his top ones or whatever, but it's just, Coach has got to give you all he's got. Like, that one, there's something to it. I hate that I can't just throw that in the trash. There's a lot. You'd be shocked at how many teams and matchups are so easy to just be like trash, right? Like if we really go down the list, especially this year, they're overrating so many cursed teams that we know aren't going to do it. Unfortunately, the Cardinals are bottom of the barrel. That's the most cursed, so they're not going to give you anything for fading them. But there's just a lot of teams near the top that don't intimidate Coach in the least. So the Buccaneers beating the Steelers. Coach likes a lot. He told you, of course, you got the Buccaneers thing with the Buccos, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the baseball team they got there. They already did the Pirate Bowl with the Buccaneers versus the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers versus Baker Mayfield would be nice. Baker used to face the Steelers twice a year, so he'd have more familiarity with the Steelers than you would think Rodgers would have with the Bucs. Of course, that would somehow tie into Brady. The Patriots should be cursed because they moved on from Brady and from Belichick. But a team like the Buccaneers, the only thing that worries me is their little number trick they won in 2002 and 2020. Usually I would have just said they're done. So based on the numbers, but I feel like they're not. And Tom Brady, he's a year away from turning 50. So Coach doesn't like him to do it this year. I'm liking, Lions, Browns next year is definitely what Coach is thinking, and there's a couple ways to get there. The one that doesn't seem to make much sense in that case is Vikings over Bills. I don't see why that would lead to Lions over Browns other than it's just back-to-back, wow, first-time winners, teams that have, you know what I mean, Like with the Vikings versus Bills, you're guaranteed to have a first-time winner, right? And the only way you could up it from there is Browns-Lions. So it does fit that way in that it's kind of the only thing that could top Vikings beating the Bills. And it kind of softens the blow. You get something crazy like Vikings versus Bills, even though the Bills have been, they've both been to a bunch of Super Bowls. Right, that's the big difference. The Browns and Lions, they've never been to one. Cleveland's never even hosted one. So it's that could be a way to condition, right? We have to remind them anything's possible. And this isn't too crazy. Now, so that's one way we could get there. The other way is if it's is it the Steelers beating the Packers? It's on Valentine's Day. The Packers got Jordan Love. I wanted them to get Jeremiah Love, and they didn't. right? They weren't really in position to. But it just would have been nice and corny. I still think they end up together somehow, or Jeremiah ends up being the Packers' answer, something like that, right? But I could very well see the Steelers being the Packers, and Coach just wants to like kind of talk football for a second in Vegas. Something is way off with the Steelers line. I'm not talking about the offensive line. I'm talking about the betting line, right? They've got the freaking Steelers below teams like the Colts, right? There's like just above the Titans, dude. They have the Steelers just above the Titans. They're way down there. You have to click more teams to see them, right? They're going off just to win the AFC. They're going off at 36-1 or 35-1, something like that, right? So insane value on a team with 6 Super Bowls. I'll say that much. We just saw a team with 6 Super Bowls lose. That's the reason enough to like them, right? They could show up and lose just like the Patriots did. They could show up and win, make the Patriots look really stupid. You know what I mean? They've never been able to get over on the Patriots. They beat the Patriots, get to 7 before the Patriots, pass them. That could be a way. You got Rodgers' revenge against the Packers. Mike McCarthy's revenge against the Packers. They both never won without each other. They just fired Tomlin. McCarthy's hometown guy, Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood. Rodgers has weird arguments that he's better than Brady. It could be something to light the flame for Brady, make him think he should come back. Rodgers clearly has CTE, but the Steelers have the 3rd best offensive line in the league, and that's without our darling Jennings Dunker. They don't have him slotted as a starter. Right? So Coach thinks they have the very best offensive line most likely, and definitely firmly in the top 5. The best line Aaron Rodgers probably ever had. He's always been the most sacked quarterback. He's taken a beating his whole career. They did really good with receiver, like everybody talked about the Eagles sniping them and taking Lemon. Coach thinks that it depends on people react, but they don't think things all the way through. Okay, the Steelers got swiped at receiver. Well, one, the Steelers don't know how to evaluate talent. They always take a freaking head case that gets goes off the rails, or they got some sort of crazy receiver curse, right? So one, if he was first on the Steelers board, it's probably not the guy you wanted. So it's probably good someone sniped you. 2, who did it? The Eagles, who notoriously can never, ever draft a fucking receiver. Come on now. Freddie Mitchell and Todd Stinkston. We passed on Reggie Wayne. We had to freaking rent Terrell Owens for 1 year to make it the Super Bowl. We had to get Alshon Jeffrey. We had to steal him from the Browns to win a Super Bowl. We had to get A.J. Brown, I think, also from the Bears. I can't remember anymore, right? But it's the Eagles, that's just the one position they could never, ever draft for whatever reason. So they always screwed up a wide receiver. Everybody always knew it was their kryptonite. So Mekhi Lemon, that's not an inspiring name. Dom Lemon, he sucks, right? Malik or whatever, Lemon, I can't remember what his name is. But anyway, he just seems like a total snap. His interviews are super weird. You know what I mean? His energy's way off. Coach thinks he's a cancer. He's a diva. So who'd they put him? Oh, man, to put him with Hurts? You thought A.J. Brown was bad. I really hope that him and Hurts. I hope he's the reason Hurts gets traded. I hope he highlights every single thing Hurts does wrong to the extreme that the public completely turns on Hurts and trusts Lemon, and he's just not even it. You know what I mean? He's got big loser energy. So, Coach could be wrong, but that's one. Coach thinks that's ultimately a blessing for the Steelers. They end up getting a good receiver. They only needed a slot anyways, right? So they got DK Metcalf as their deep threat, and they've got Pittman as their number 1 guy, the Pitman. That sounds perfect. By the top 3 line, they've got a running back they picked up in free agency who's gotten 1,000 yards the past 2 years. Running behind the top line of the league, he'll probably get 1,500 or 2,000 yards or something. He's probably the best fantasy prospect. They've had like the most expensive defense, and everybody said that they're talented but always underperforming. So coach thinks the Steelers could definitely, at the very least, they're being way undervalued. I promise that. They are way better than they're acting like. They're not going to just be horrible. And I will tell you a team I do think is going to be horrible, and it's one that's going to shock you, and I think it's hilarious, right? So the Steelers, they're in a very good position, and so McCarthy can win with the inherited team just like Tomlin did, and then be penciled in way too long, even though like he doesn't deserve it. So that's an angle. I told you the Wentz beating the Bills, Vikings over the Bills, that's an angle. Buccaneers over the Steelers. Those are probably about it for me as far as like what I see realistically going down. If I had to pick one more, I'd be like, I guess the Rams beating the Patriots, but I don't buy it. It feels off. I liked it last year, and coach always asks for a 2-year window. But Stafford, he just feels cucked and cooked. Puka, I mean, he'd be interesting to have at the White House, I guess, but he just seems too Trump adjacent. You know, he makes, I mean, like, he's hard to read, you know what I mean? Like, at least he's, like, way off the rails. He might actually be the type of guy you want there, right? So, I could be wrong. I mean, they picked up Myles Garrett, and, I mean, maybe he wins, like, league MVP or whatever. I could definitely see, like, Garrett. I just think it's smoke, right? So, I think that's what they want you to think. I think they want you to think Myles Garrett finally got what he wanted. He gets to go to L.A., okay? Coach told you it was Kobe Bryant anyway, so what do you know? He's in L.A., okay? So Kobe gets to go back to L.A., and, if he wins, all well and good. That probably helps break some sort of Browns curse, but Coach doesn't buy it because Coach doesn't think we have some sort of curse on defensive tackles. The Brownies have a quarterback curse. So Coach thinks that Myles Garrett trade was timed perfectly on multiple fronts. One, to make you really high on the Cleveland Rams, right? The LA Rams, when Coach thinks they're not going to be good. Coach had Stafford on his fantasy team last year when everybody was selling him, right? At the beginning of the year, right? So Coach believes in Stafford. He just doesn't think, he thinks his time's pretty much up. Stafford, Rodgers, and Baker Mayfield are all in danger of being the first quarterbacks to lose to every team in the NFL. And, like, Rodgers' schedule pretty much makes it impossible. They'd have to lose to the Raiders. If this is I don't see it. I mean, like, I do kind of have faith in Kirk Cousins. I don't think the Raiders are as bad as people think they're going to be. But, like, Coach thinks they should have traded back and just fleeced the Dolphins or some even dumber team and really stacked their team. So it's hard to believe in them too much. But they could be flirting with the playoffs in a year where Mahomes is, like, banged up. Kelsey's mad old. The Chargers are kind of always chokers. So, tough to read a lot of these teams, right? Raiders, I mean, they got attention having, like, the top pick and stuff. But you got the top pick and you take Fernando and you already got Cousins. Like, it just seems foolish. It feels just like the Rams who traded up for Ty Simpson, right? They took a quarterback in the first round. And they traded back from 46 out of the top 100. So they could have got a top 50 guy. They didn't even get a guy in the top 100 to trade up, bundled with their first to just go a little bit higher in the first and take a quarterback nobody had slotted going anywhere near there, right? I mean, the worst reaction any team's pick got the whole time. Remember, Coach attended the draft, right? So that was an immediately boo. I mean, everybody just knew it sucked, right? And Coach thinks he's a big loser. So Coach thinks, so last year Stafford was injured and he had some sort of experimental treatment or something like that. Well, if Stafford goes down and they roll with Ty Simpson, remember he had that corny, like, let's make history coach or whatever? This dude is ugly as sin. I'm telling you, it's like, no way Ty Simpson's it, in my opinion. He's just, like, not marketable. He's a total dork. He kind of reminds me of Kirk Cousins a little bit, I'll be honest. And I just see it. I could totally see a world where the Rams are horrible. Garrett has, like, 99 toughness, but he's always got like 5 to 7 injuries at any given time. Like, what if this is the year he just can't play through it? He's on the wrong side of 30 now, right? Did the Browns know something, right? You know, I mean, it's hard to. Sorry, Coach had a long phone call. So just saying, always tough to trust the Browns, but it seems like the front office is doing better since they moved on from Stefanski and hired Todd Monken. Now, we'll just shift gears entirely here and then get back because Coach has a ton of slides. So Coach looking at Chuck D. His real name's Carlton, right? It's in parentheses, or in quotes, real name, right? So that made Coach think of Carlton Banks. Coach immediately realized that that's Daniel Cormier. I looked it up, and John Jones called Cormier Carlton, right? So I thought that was funny. Done talking to you for now. Carlton Banks. Here's Martin Lawrence after getting beat up by Tommy Hearns on his show. So Coach thinks it's probably like Sugar Ray Leonard. Ray Leonard was Sugar Ray Robinson, who looks a lot like Jamie Foxx there. Here was when Val Kilmer stood in for Jim Carrey, and they duped everybody, just to prove he's not actually dead, just like they did with Michael Jackson. They're putting in anti-tank measures. I love that. That's really good for our Sixers next year. Our buddy Ron B popping up, Coach, what about a 99 finals repeat? Spurs, Knicks. Spurs 1-5. Brunson played on the Knicks as well. Spurs had a dominant center. Yeah, David Robinson, the Admiral. I forgot about the 99 one. Coach said, of course, he thought you earned this one. You and the other person popped up. I'll show them in a second, but we'll get over. Okay, let's do another comparison. So this Piper Raquel, definitely Amanda Bynes repurposed. They don't even hide it. It's honestly hard to tell them apart most of the time. Got it on TikTok,
Piper Raquel is an incredibly...
There you go. They did this story about her doing OnlyFans, right? So just like they had Bynes fall off, they're now doing it to Raquel. Holly Weird and their rituals, right? So the Spurs are up 2-0. Coach was thinking initially they were going to sweep, but now with Trump attending Game 3 and them doing the story with ticket prices, Coach is actually getting really cute with it. I think the Spurs win the next 3. I know that sounds insane, but hear me out. So Trump shows up tonight. Fans can't afford the tickets. Spurs pack the place out somehow, right? Trump goes home sad. Shows up again for Game 4. They lose again. And then Spurs win Game 5 in San Antonio. I'm wondering if Trump travels to that one, right? But basically, I'm thinking social media is like begging, like Knicks fans begging Trump to stay home for Game 6. And Trump pulls some hero move, like buys a bunch of tickets and gives them away to like firefighters or 9/11 responders or something like that, right? And they win Game 6 to survive, face a Game 7, right? And the Knicks fans travel to San Antonio. They win in 7, right? So I'm thinking, Knicks have won the first 2. Now I'm thinking Spurs, Knicks is the bet for Coach. Let's see, what all do we got? Yeah, so the Spurs, they avenged the NBA Cup loss. Then finals is the grudge match. Sixers hired Mike Gansey. Everybody hated it at first, but now someone, like I think Villanova's coach, endorsed him, so now everybody loves the pick. Ultimately seems good for our Sixers. He was tied in with the Harden trade, but everybody says he didn't really have anything to do with it. Nick Nurse's brother died during the playoff series at 62, right? Flip of 26. Coach realized that SGA is definitely R. Kelly, and it's another one they don't really try to hide. So, just saying. Coach got hosed. Coach got so hosed. So it did hurt, of course, that Coach stupidly overthought the Ronda Rousey comeback and thought there was going to be one more loss before she goes ham on everybody. But no, of course, she's just coming back with a vengeance immediately. And it messed up a lot of Coach's Sean Strickland parlays, but Coach wasn't too mad because we still had Floyd Mayweather. We get the tie, bail us out with at least $1,000. Nope, they postponed the freaking fight, changed the venue, so all of Coach's bets got pushed. So much for the Sean Strickland tickets, thanks to this stupid reschedule. That's why Coach hates parlaying fights. There's always some stupid fake injury or reschedule, shit like this, rescheduling, changing the venue, or just canceling the fight straight up. You never know, right? So, Coach not pumped about that. Let's see. Coach had some stuff here, but I don't really feel like getting into it. Although these dudes look very weird, and there's some weird AI, right? Definitely looks like some video game characters, just like Wemby. And let's see. Hold on. Mitch Johnson, third head coach. Last 50 years win a conference final. Age 40 or younger. Sixers in 82. The 82 Sixers, that's the last team that had beaten the Celtics. Mitch, they're going against Mitchell Robinson. Let's see. I don't care about this stuff. Coach told you about Champagne already. So, they're just getting humiliated. Kane, Charlemagne. But honestly, players I don't really care all that much about. I mean, Shamit. Philly be moving like Santa Claus. That's funny. So, yeah, it's just, once again, it's like, yeah, it's stuff that people say the Sixers are doing wrong, but everybody's talking about the Sixers. Just like Cleveland moving Myles Garrett, right? They win the offseason again because everybody was talking about them. Let's see. Yeah, so the Sixers have the 22nd pick. So that's what the McCain pick got them, or that's what the McCain trade got them. Now they have a first-round pick. They didn't have shit, right? So now they have the 22nd pick, and there's actually some good fits for them there. Hopefully they do good. There's always some gem that slides like a Jokic or something, right? They could hit it out of the park. Obviously, this is the same part. They just recast the real Marsha Brady in the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson or whatever, they got to be the same, some shapeshifter shit. We want to see the Sixers go back to a good logo. We don't want some horseshit. We want the Nuggets and the Sixers going back to good logos this year for Jokic versus Embiid. Clearly, Jake Paul showing off that he's a breeder. Brandon Clark, they say he died or whatever, so Thunder sacrificed for their finals last year, I guess. We just had Russell Wilson retire too. Seahawks sacrifice. He did play with the Steelers. It could be a clue that they're going. Let's see. A.J. Brown to the Patriots just feels lose-lose for both teams. Thought it was interesting that the Buccaneers have a guy they call Batman. Thomas Kane died, if you didn't know. Powerpuff Girls, dude. Let's see. Craig McCracken, coach. I wonder if that's Burt McCracken will be used. Don't forget, Embiid scored 70 on Wemby. You want to tell me Embiid's not good enough to win a fucking finals? Wemby's in the finals right now, and my man scored 70 on him. Right, so that was the other thing Coach wanted to say. So a lot of people thought Brunson was the best player for the Knicks, but Coach said Towns would have to be. And Coach will show you some more receipts on that here in a little bit. We're getting there, right? But so Towns has been crushing it. We love that. So Embiid can beat him next year, in the rematch. Of course, Knicks are the ones that ousted the Sixers the past 2 years. Thought it was interesting, Spurs are in the 26 finals, and Wemby played for two teams whose names end in 92, Nantier 92 and Metropolitans 92. I guess 9-2, named for like the area code, basically. So Steelers spoiled a perfect season for the Niners. Once upon a time, they could go head-to-head at some point. Ammo for Bucs Steelers, possibly going head-to-head. The Bucs added Kenny Gainwell. They also have Bucky Irving. some stuff. Candace Parker, thought it was weird. So Candace, right, nicknamed Ace, ended her career with the Aces. And there's also a Candace Parker in the Mission Impossible movie / video game. Steve Spurrier, right? Could that be a clue? So Spurs in the finals. Could one of Spurrier's teams be making it, like the Bucks or something? Niners just hosted the draft. Gibbs is with the Bucks too, right? Yeah, blah blah blah. Everybody's acting like the Eagles are crushing it. I think there's still room for the Sixers to bring in that Thunder guy, so I'm hoping they pull it off. I think there's one spot left. Hassan Reddick, of course, JJ Reddick, Sixer. Basically, drama in Philly with sleeping with each other's girlfriends, hoes, whatever. That's why they had to move him. But I think Lemon's going to be an even bigger head case for old Hurts. There's Garrett. Bob Schneider, got to be Rob Schneider. There's Ty Simpson looking like a dork. No way, he's the man. I'm telling you, he sucks. Knicks look like champs to me. I feel like the Spurs already got their championship, getting to beat the Thunder in Game 7. I feel like that series took too much out of them. Carlton Davis picked off Dak Prescott. Isn't that interesting when Coach told you that Daniel Cormier is Carlton and Dak Prescott? And here's Dak doing the Carlton. Okay. So, you could have, Ravens-Bucks at some point. Dilfer only QB to ever leave after winning the Super Bowl. He got cut, ended up with the Bucks. Oh, sorry if that's a Pokemon thing. I was just surprised they had a trading game, too. That was Japan only. Let's see. Okay. A.J. Brown looking like Hugh Jackson, kind of. Okay, so here's our 80 for Brady cast. Okay, Coach was thinking, we got to have, the majority or at least a couple, right? Rita Moreno hanging on at 94. You go, girl. Sally Field pushing 80. I love it, so she'll be a true 80 playing the 80 for Brady Part 2. Lily Tomlin, 86. You get it. Jane Fonda and one more, the lesser Sally. Shh, she's not really dead. You know it's a joke. So, yeah, they say she died, but whatever. Not buying it. So, let's see. So, I was going to say Tom Brady was going to end up beating, every single team. But this is 5 years old, and I'm pretty sure he's already done it since. So, that was 13 teams added to the list. Coach would have got right. We would have been betting pretty good there. Bucks to beat Steelers. They're giving you 17.50 to 1. Are you fucking kidding? Unbelievable. Baker, 1-0 against the Steelers. Yeah, don't forget. Yeah, he beat the Steelers with the Browns. I think that's another reason for them to go head-to-head. It's really tough to call. I like 3 scripts, man, I'm telling you. Vikings over Bills, Bucks over Steelers, and Steelers over Packers are all singing to me. It's tough to pick one. I guess you could always say Rams-Patriots, too. We picked that last year, and they did just add Myles Garrett. And the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, but... It's Brady's record against everybody. Oh, yeah. So Brady's got a winning record against everybody except 2 teams he's 500 against. His childhood idol, 49ers, and the Broncos, who, with Peyton Manning and stuff. So... How did I have that? Oh, yeah. Well, they face the Broncos in the regular fucking season in 2027. I looked at the Lions schedule. It's already out. So they actually play the Broncos in 2027. We just don't know exactly when, but they're on the schedule. And then I had them slotted to face the Niners in the playoffs anyways. He grew up in California idolizing Montana, never faced them in the playoffs. So that could have them above 500 for every team, nice and clean, right? Winning record against everybody or some shit. I don't know. Some of these sound 1-5, 1-6. Maybe I'm crazy. Oh, every record versus Tom Brady. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm right. Yeah, so the Broncos and the Wait, so no, it's saying the Chiefs and the Saints. This might be old, though. I thought I could have sworn us. Let's see. Yeah, look, Brady had a winning record against all but the two teams. I knew coach wasn't crazy. Some of these graphics were outdated, so sorry about that. So yeah, NFC North playing the AFC West, so I coach did his homework there. Let's see. So Bucks beating the Steelers with Portugal combined, 99 gets you a max out. Coach would never make that bet. Not telling you to do that. Maybe $9.90, but probably not. And then that's still 100 grand. It's not terrible value. I still think it's too much. Bucks to beat Steelers with Portugal. So 58 still getting you over a mil. So yeah, Knicks sweep. Yeah, I liked it at the time. It's not good now. Let's see. Dream. Coach just playing around with these. I want to see some bets I actually put in here. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Oh yeah, don't forget Caleb Williams. He's on the Madden cover. He's going to be cursed. They're telling you the Bears are going to move to Indiana, barring anything very strange. So be prepared for something very strange to happen to keep them in Chicago. Or, yeah, I don't see them leaving Chicago, but Indiana's stupid. They're not going there. I'm thinking Griner must be Iverson or something. So Angel Reese is saying Griner would be prime Iverson. Angel Reese is on some sort of crazy historic streak that only Blake Griffin's done, so she's definitely good for a double-double tonight to break that streak, and I think she's going to eventually be her or Griner will beat a man one-on-one. I'm not sure who. I'm thinking DeMarcus Cousins seems like a prime target. He's kind of overrated in my opinion. Draymond's asking for it, but he's a damn good player. It's tough to see either of them giving him problems. So, let's see. So I guess I put this one in. Suns with the Bucks to beat the Steelers, $1 to max out. I don't even like that bet anymore. I'm going to be honest. The Suns have already lost my faith that it's only been one game since. Let's see. Dream, Bucks to beat Steelers in Portugal. Damn, I put that in. Coach was smoking some something, man. I don't love that value. I would have cut that one way down. 14.50, that's way too high. Okay, $4. McGregor Dream. McGregor beats Steelers in Portugal. 4 to max out. Once again, I don't know why I'm betting so high here. So they didn't let me put that one in. I had to put that one in for $1. McGregor Bucks beat Steelers in Portugal for 61 grand. That's a good bet. Let's see, yeah, so they're saying Claude Lemieux, he looks kind of like Jimmy Johnson a little bit, I guess. Brendan Lemieux, we got Brendan Schaub coming back. Also to help the Aaron Rodgers versus Packers case. So Jordan Love, the Super Bowl's on Valentine's Day, and Aaron Rodgers' brother's name is Jordan. I'm thinking they might have something bad happen to Brett Favre for a CT sacrifice. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best people to send to the White House to troll Trump. You definitely give him hell, so that's interesting. They're saying he had some sort of injustice he took hard. Guess not getting in the Hall of Fame. Oh, that's my cute doggy. Sorry. Let's see. Sorry. That. Trade. Oh, yeah, so Pittsburgh dad being glad he won't be able to add Rodgers to his graveyard now. I wonder if that's foreshadowing because if the Buccaneers face... Wait, I'm retarded. No, yeah, that would only be if the Rams were there. I guess they could pop... Rams, Steelers, does that do anything for me? I'm thinking no. I'm not buying that. Stafford. Well, Bobby Lane got traded to Pittsburgh, and Stafford's the next lane. I just don't trust Stafford anymore, I'll be honest. This is a big part of it for me. So, yeah, $108 million less than the Steelers. A bunch of guys are about to be getting paid. I have to let a lot of them walk. So, yeah, they're saying Karl-Anthony Towns the finals MVP so far. We love that. 43 days since New York's last loss. So, yeah, here's Coach's receipts. Coach didn't bullshit you. Look, this was Tuesday, and today I got to make sure I post this today. All right, but today is Monday, so this was at least 6 days ago, right, before the Knicks went up 2-0. Karl Anthony Towns has always been a complete defensive liability, but he is straight up locked in on the defensive end and is playing like Draymond. I wouldn't be surprised if Towns puts 50 on Wemby in one of the contests. All of the Knicks' best pieces are on the cusp of 30. It's now or never for them. There's virtually no way I see them dropping a game in Madison Square Garden, so if Spurs lose even one at home, I think that's it for them. Like I said, I've changed that line of thinking a little bit, but you see that I was into them pretty heavy. I'm honestly not a firm believer in any one Knicks player or the franchise, but all of them together just feels right for them. They got to sit back and watch the Spurs like everybody else and should have the best game plan of any Spurs opponent yet. Yet they've got to see what works and what doesn't, whereas virtually nothing's worked against the Knicks. They've only lost two playoff games, both by 1 point. They bounced back to beat that same Hawks team by 50 and then won 11 straight since. So yeah, they're rolling. I'm really liking the Trump curse angle. I don't think they win game 3, and I think they could lose 3 in a row. So some sort of creepy handshake going on, right? The Masonic deal. Let's see. Second longest streak in NBA history. Let's see. Yeah, so, of course, Orange New York team playing